Yeah, good afternoon, grade 10 life science students. Thank you so much for connecting and tuning on to Metric Hub. I'm sure we are enjoying and our stay is quite interesting. Today we want to talk about Biosphere Term 3 work. So without wasting any time, I'm sure you can see there are some diagrams and notes that I'm attaching on the board here. So please just take note of these diagrams, and they would help us also to interrelate and understand things better. So biosphere basically refers to all living organisms on Earth. It refers to all living things on Earth. Or we talk about living organisms, things that are alive. We are saying living organisms on Earth and is often called global ecosystem. We are talking about the ecosystem at large. It is also called the global ecosystem, which is the ecosystem at large. So, as you can see here, I'm saying biosphere interacts with other spheres. Biosphere, it interacts, it means it is connected. It is connected, it is connected with other spheres, such as the lithosphere, the atmosphere, and hydrosphere. So when we look at biosphere, what we need to understand is that it is connected to other spheres. It is actually a global ecosystem. A global ecosystem is to say the ecosystem of interdependence of organisms at large. We look at how organisms are interrelated to each other. So in that regard, what you can see here is that we have got the lithosphere, which is the earth, and the earth. We are talking about the crust and the mantle. We talk about the atmosphere, which we talk about the gases. We talk about the hydrosphere, which is about the waters. So right now, without wasting any time, I'm sure you can see that these systems or these spheres, we cannot separate them. They are interrelated, they are quite connected. So we have got our biosphere, we have got our lithosphere, which is the crust and the mantle. We have got the hydrosphere, which is the water. We have got the atmosphere, which is also composed of various gases that we can talk about. So these gases basically, they actually have an influence in terms of our vegetation, in terms of the hydrosphere, aquatic lives, and so forth. So without wasting any time, we are going to discuss this. So what you need to understand is that it is actually defined as also the global sum of all ecosystems. When we look at biosphere, we can say in other words is the global sum, as to say the total of all ecosystems. So in this regard, we are looking at all living things, all living organisms. That is what we are looking at. Total ecosystems, the global sum of all ecosystems. So I want us to understand this. So therefore, we are going to relate and be able to understand them better as we go down here. Biosphere consists of, I already said that it consists of one, the hydrosphere. It is combined mass of water. Hydrosphere is combined mass of water found on, which is on, we talk about surface. This can be surface water, under, which is groundwater, and above the surface of the earth. We can talk about waters that is in various water sources above the earth on of the earth. We are saying these are, we are talking about every other sources of water, every other places which can store water, sources of water. That's what we are referring to as in terms of the hydrosphere. So the hydrosphere is made up of oceans. Yes, we need to understand that there's oceans. which is also surface water. We talk about seas, lakes, and rivers, as well as springs. These are sources, or these provide us with water, combined mass of water, which is found under, above the earth's surface. And also we talk about it found in various places such as the oceans, the seas, the lakes, the rivers, and the springs. The water in these bodies can be fresh water. That is correct to say that water can be fresh water or salt water, which is also another way that water can be found. So the hydrosphere is home to a wide variety of aquatic lives or aquatic plants and animals. In this case, we are talking about water, water loving and living organisms. Those are what we call aquatic organisms. We are talking about water loving and living organisms. We talk about all the organisms that live in water from the various or within their various sizes and so forth. So what we need to understand is that hydrosphere is actually home for a wide variety of organisms. We have got a diversity of organisms that lives in water that are actually habitating in water. We have got plants, we have got animals, all those we can give them. We talk about fish, we talk about crocodiles, we talk about scrubs and so forth. Those are various organisms that also live in water. So the lithosphere, it refers to the outermost surface of the earth, which is number two. We think the lithosphere is actually the outermost surface of the earth. The earth's crust, the outermost surface of the earth and the earth's crust. So the oceanic lithosphere is associated with the oceanic crust and exists in oceanic basins. So these oceanic basins we are talking about the ones which are found. We are talking about oceans in this case. So lithosphere is basically the outermost surface of the earth, which is actually the earth's crust. But however, we can also have the oceanic lithosphere, which is associated with the oceanic crust and exists in oceanic basins. So when we are in oceans, we have got also that crust which is also forming it. Hence, we call that what oceanic crust. We have got continental lithosphere. Continental lithosphere class uh, is associated with continental crust, which covers the Earth's landmass. The Earth, I'm sure if we can refer very well for those some of you who also do geography, the Earth is a continental thing, and the Earth was once a continental or a supercontinent. We are saying the Earth is actually a mass, which is actually we are saying it's a continental lithosphere, which is associated with the continental crust, and it covers the Earth's landmass, the Earth as a whole, or the part of the earth which has got no water. We are talking about that as to say that is the landmass. So the lithosphere shields living organisms. That is one thing that we need to understand. It shields living organisms from the heat. So in other words, we are saying it protects it protects living organisms from the heat of the Earth's core and contains ionic compounds which allow plants and animals life to exist. So, in other words, we are saying one thing that we need to understand is that the Earth, the lithosphere, actually it protects living organisms from the heat of the Earth score. And also, we are saying from the heat of the Earth's core, I am sure I remember that the Earth is actually having molten magma that is found, molten magma, molten magma that is found underneath the Earth. There is a mass of molten rock that is under the Earth, which is very hot. We sometimes when we look at it, we refer to it when we have got volcanic eruptions and other land movements or earthquakes. So these we are saying they are very dangerous. There is very dangerous heat that is also coming from the Earth's core. However, because of the lithosphere, organisms are able to survive on the Earth's surface, which is covering and shielding them from that heat And then we also have the lithosphere also contains ionic compounds which allow plants and animals to exist. So there is also some nutrition that is also important for what? For vegetation, which is also important for vegetation to survive. So animals also they exist because of the lithosphere. We are saying living organisms, animals also exist as a result of the lithosphere, which is having the compounds. We are saying the ionic compounds which can actually allow them to exist. So now, atmosphere is number three. Atmosphere, we say the biosphere is made up of various spheres that are interconnected. So the atmosphere is the layer of the gases surrounding the earth. I'm sure that we can agree. We are saying gases that are surrounding the earth. Gases surrounding the earth, we call that the atmosphere. So the gases in the atmosphere allow organisms to respire. They also regulate the temperature of the planet. I'm sure if you are quite following and understanding this, we know that the atmosphere actually it is a thin layer of gases that surrounds the earth. And then one other thing that we need to understand is that it is these gases, we talk about oxygen, that is actually promoting organisms to survive. Oxygen allows respiration. Oxygen allows life to take place on Earth, and then it also regulates the temperature of the planet. So therefore, the Earth is covered by a thin layer of gases, which also regulate or it controls temperatures of the planet. So therefore, the Earth's sun or the Earth, I mean the incoming terrestrial radiation from the sun does not also overheat. It is also shielded from the plants. It is also shielded from various organisms that live on it on the earth. So what we are saying is that the atmosphere, it also regulates the temperature of the planet. The atmosphere's ability to absorb the ultraviolet rays of the sun is what allows what allows life on earth to survive. I'm sure that we are quite aware that it is the atmosphere, like I just said now, that it actually absorbs the ultraviolet rays. We are talking about the incoming solar radiation, incoming uh, solar solar radiation. That's what we are talking about. As therefore, it is actually it it is absorbed. That solar heat is absorbed, which is actually the atmosphere, which allows life on Earth to take place. Organisms cannot survive. I'm sure we will talk about heat waves. Plants and animals, they die. Seas, water bodies, they dry out. But because of the gases that are found in the atmosphere, the gases are there to shield and protect organisms from such heat, from such terrestrial heat that we want to refer to. So the connections between the spheres imply that disturbances in one sphere affect the other sphere. I'm sure that is very correct. We are saying the disturbances on one sphere can affect other spheres. We have got an example, one example, excessive deforestation, which is on the biosphere, excessive cutting down of trees, excessive cutting down of trees, excessive cutting down of vegetation, excessive cutting down of vegetation results in increased erosion. When trees or vegetation is cleared to a large extent or extensively, it results in increased soil erosion. We are saying soil erosion, erosion is to say washing away. It increase in washing away. It increase in washing away of topsoils. The washing away of top fertile soils. washing away of top fertile soils will occur if trees are cut. When trees are cut down, when trees are cut down, when trees are cut down, these are the implications. And then we are saying it actually causes the increased erosion, and then the upper layer of the earth, the lithosphere, we are saying the lithosphere or the pedosphere will be washed into rivers. We are talking about the siltation. We talk about the siltation or filling up of rivers. Filling up of rivers, it is caused because of the washing away of what? Of soils. So these spheres, they are interconnected class. They are interconnected. There is an interconnectedness, or there is an interrelationship that we cannot override. So let's understand and relate to this very well, that the biosphere is made up of, or it is actually the total sum of ecosystem on the earth. We talk about it as to say that it is made up of various spheres, which is the atmosphere, the biosphere. I mean, we have got the atmosphere, we have got the lithosphere, and the hydrosphere. Together, they are summing up to form our biosphere, which we are saying it is actually the global sum of all ecosystems. All ecosystems, ecosystems, meaning to say life taking place as a result of the interconnectedness of organisms, or relationship of organisms in that system or in that habitat. So deforestation also results in increased atmospheric carbon dioxide. We are talking about the disturbances. If one of the spheres is disturbed, we are talking about saying, I mean, we are referring to, still talking about deforestation. So deforestation results in an increase in atmospheric carbon dioxide, which is in the atmosphere. Are we together there? Atmosphere is filled up of carbon dioxide. What is happening is that deforestation, therefore, is an example of how disturbances in one sphere produces effect in the hydrosphere, upper lithosphere, and atmosphere. So we have got a quick and relevant example that we have given here with regards to say what would happen if one of the spheres is disturbed. So looking at it, class, what we need to look at and relate very well is that carbon dioxide becomes more because it is no longer being consumed by vegetation. Vegetation that must use the carbon dioxide is cut off because of what? Because of deforestation that we are talking about. Because of the cutting down of the trees, the carbon dioxide that is released by animals, by living organisms, animals there, is no longer being consumed. Hence, it becomes excess. And then that excess carbon dioxide would also result in problems that would also affect other related spheres. So, therefore, we are saying they are interconnected. So, in this case, I'm just showing you the interconnectedness or the relationship of the spheres that we need to understand, that we are saying it is the hydrosphere, which also remember that the atmosphere is made up of water vapor, is made up of water vapor. Water vapor, where does it come from? It comes from the hydrosphere. Water vapor coming from what? From hydrosphere. Are we together there? So now we are saying this hydrosphere, it is also contributed, or it also have water which comes from the earth. When water from the earth, it can also drain into our water sources. As either we talk about groundwater flow, we talk about groundwater groundwater flow. We are saying it can also be called base flow. Groundwater flow, it also seepages, it also flows into the what? Into the hydrosphere. So the earth, actually, it is a lithosphere which also feeds to the hydrosphere. And again, we are saying these together all are interconnected. Animals on the earth, they release gases into the atmosphere. We talk about nitrogen fixation, which is also resulting in the atmosphere. We talk about uh, the issues to do with plants needing water from the I mean plants on earth, they need from the lithosphere, they need water which is coming from the hydrosphere and so forth. So in this regard, this is what we refer to as what, as the hydrosphere. And I hope that we have made sense of it. We have made good sense of what we are discussing there. So without wasting any time, let us talk about the next subject, which is the biome. What is a biome? Biome is a large geographic area characterized by a specific climatic condition. Large geographic area. It's a location. It's a location. It's a place. We are looking at a place that is characterized by specific climate conditions, plant life, and also animals. So geographic area characterized by specific climate conditions, I'm sure that there are various factors that forms up the climate conditions. We talk about temperature, we talk about rainfall, we talk about wind speed, we talk about cloud cover, all various factors. We talk about humidity. All these are climatic factors that are together affecting the plants, which we say the flora, which is affecting the plants and also animals within that place. So organisms within a place are determined by the climatic conditions. Climatic conditions within a region or within a locality actually defines the type of animals, the type of organisms that we can find there. I'm sure that we can agree. For example, we cannot find nice vegetation in desert. Desert is known of high temperatures, low rainfall, erratic rainfall totals, and at the end of the day, we are also going to find thorny uh, thorny bushes and trees that can be found in deserts, unlike in equatorial rainforest or savanna and regions and temperate regions as well. So we're gonna look at these. So these communities of living organisms are adapted to physical environment and regional climate of their biome. So what we need to look at is that organisms that are within a certain geographic area, they actually adapt. They actually uh, have got a survival ability within a physical environment in the regional climate. I mean, of that biome. So of that place that we are talking about. So the communities of living organisms, they actually end up having characteristics that can make them survive within a given place. So in this regard, what we need to understand is that uh, biomes are broader than habitats or ecosystems, encompassing large-scale geographical regions. When we look at biome, we are not actually talking about a small habitat, as to say we can look at a given place where organisms are staying, or we can look at a simple small ecosystem. However, when we look at a biome, it actually encompasses large geographical regions. So therefore, we shall look at that. So we have got examples, common examples of that in order for us to understand better. Examples, common biomes include the rainforest. I told you that we have got at least, we talk about the rainforest, we talk about the desert, we talk about the grasslands, we talk about the tundra, and then we can talk about aquatic biomes. So all these are kind of common examples. The grasslands we talk, these can also be defined as the savanna temperate regions or the savanna temperate places. These are also called, we need to understand that these uh, various large geographical regions which actually have got their own characteristics that are exactly different and typically of those places. So therefore, let us just quickly look at this. Uh, Biomes are regions with a similar climate and geography which support a particular group of plants and animals, which I already talked about this one. We are saying there is uh, characteristics, there are some climatic factors and the location which support a particular group of plants and animals, which is why we say that the vegetation that we can find in two different places between rainforest and desert are not the same because the climatic conditions or the uh, geographic location cannot be the same. So now, biome can be terrestrial, which is like to say it is land, it can be lengthy or it can be aquatic, meaning to say that it can be water. Biomes can be, we can look at it in on a lengthy, or we can talk about that as in uh, aquatic, which I said aquatic, it can be fresh waters or marine water. In terms of aquatic, it can be fresh or marine water there. So we have got the following terrestrial biomes are found in southern Africa. We have got the fynbos, we have got the forest, we have got the grasslands, the savanna, thicket, then Naomi Carroll, the succulent Karoo, and the desert. They are found. These are found in what? In South Africa. They are found in South Africa. So then, what we need to understand is that not you this is NB that I want you to not to take note about, take note of. So you should know how the climate, how the soils and the vegetation influence the organism found in each of these biomes, as well as location of the different biomes in South Africa. And then aquatic biomes are divided into many groups, which we say that we have got depending on the amount of salt present in the water. So we talk about the fresh water, we can talk about the marine salt water. And then I'm just before I go and okay, I'm gonna just quickly refer to this one. The climate as factors that can affect the biome. We said climate, biome are defined by their climate, including temperature, rainfall, and the seasonality. These I already mentioned them that the climate is the temperature, the rainfall, they are actually affecting the various biomes. And then vegetation, the type of biomes can be affected by the type of plants that thrive in a biome. Vegetation, the type of plant that thrive in the key characteristics reflecting the climate and the soil conditions. Animal life are adapted to specific conditions that are there and of those biome, as well as the including food source and climate. I mean food source, shelter, and also climate. In terms of scale, biomes are larger than ecosystems. I guess that I've already mentioned that they are larger than ecosystems and habitats. An ecosystem is a community of living organisms interacting with each other and their environment. We can say, given even in a garden or given in a in a zoo, this can be, we can have an ecosystem there. So while a habitat is a specific area where a population or a species can live, that is a habitat. It is a specific area where organisms or where a population can survive. So environment is the physical conditions. When we look at environment, we are looking at physical conditions such as soils, we look at water, we look at air, temperature, etc., and the biological conditions under which an organism can survive. We are saying the conditions within that place, or we are talking about the living conditions under which that organism can survive. So, without finishing, without going any further and closing this, I want us to understand that I want us to look at this to say that I've got some examples of biomes that I want us to just look at. For example, let's talk about the grasslands. I have got examples of biomes. I have got one, the grasslands. Let's look at the grasslands, for example. So grasslands, basically what we need to know is that grasslands, these are open. Grasslands are open. We need to understand these are just, we need to understand them as open regions. Open regions, grasslands are open regions which are, of course, are dominated by grass and have warm. They are dominated by grassy. They are dominated by grassy and they have warm. They have warm, dry climate. Grasslands have got warm, dry climate. There are two types. Basically, we can talk about tropical grasslands, types of grasslands, e.g., types of grasslands. We have got one. We have got what is called the tropical grasslands. We have got one tropical grasslands, which is sometimes also called the savanna. We have got sometimes called the savanna, the tropical grasslands, and the temperate grasslands, which is number two. The temperate grasslands. So what you need to understand, class, is that the savanna grasslands, what is happening is that the savanna grasslands, savanna grasslands are found closer to the equator and can have a few scattered trees. So therefore, what we are saying is that the savanna, if they do have few scattered trees, they do have few scattered trees. That's one thing that you need to understand. They are found close to the equator, found close to the equator. They are found close to the equator. That is one thing that we need to understand there. And then they cover almost half of the continent of Africa, as well as areas of Australia, India, and South America. We are saying these are found, e.g., places. They are found in places such as what? They are found in places almost half of the continent of Africa. We talk about Africa. They are found in Africa. We talk about Australia. We talk about Australia. We can also have India and other places in South America. And then one other thing is that the temperate grasslands are found further away from equator. The temperate grasslands are found further away from the equator. They are found further away from the equator, these ones. Further away from equator. They are found further away from equator, the temperate grasslands. That is, I mean, the temperate grasslands. They are found further away from the equator. In South Africa, we talk about Hungary, we talk about Argentina, Uruguay, and North America, as well as Russia. And then they do not have any trees or shrubs. There are no trees and shrubs there and receive less precipitation than the savannas. So the rainfall totals that are in the temperate regions, they are very slow and also very low temperatures. So we don't have vegetation in those places because the vegetation dies because of those climatic conditions. So as also we say that very less rainfall is received or precipitation, it is even less than the savannas. So now what we are saying is they do not have trees and or shrubs that we can find there. What we need to understand is that uh, we have got the steppes and also the steppes and the paris are types of temperate grassland that we can give, characterized by tall grasses that are found there, and also tall and shorter grasses are found in those places. Uh, Tropical rainforest is another type of a biome that we can talk about. Tropical rainforest, tropical rainforest is another example that we can talk about. It is actually warm and humidity. It is actually warm and humidity. It is warm and humidity. And then what we need to understand is that the tropical rain, it is found close to the equator as well. So what you need to see again is that there is high rainfall there. We have got high rainfall. They are also uh, high rainfall and high temperatures results in dense vegetation. High rainfall and high temperatures results in what? In dense forest. There are quite a lot of vegetation there. Dense forests are found there because we have got high rainfall. We have got high rainfall, also high temperatures that are found in those places. They together cause we are talking about precipitation that can also result in what? There is high precipitation that can result in those kind of what you call temperatures of vegetation. So we may also want to give the last example as deserts. Deserts are basically dry areas where rainfall is less than 50 centimeters per year. Deserts are places or areas that have got very low rainfalls, almost like 50 centimeters in a year, and they cover around 20% of the earth. Deserts, they do cover about 20% of the earth and can be cold or hot, although most of them are found in subtropical areas. So because of their extreme conditions, there is no much of biodiversity found in desert as other biomes. There is no much biodiversity found in deserts as in other biomes because of the extreme conditions that are found there. So any vegetation and wildlife living in desert must have special adaptations for their surviving in the dry environment. So desert wildlife consists primarily of reptiles and small mammals. Wildlife, basically, we have got reptiles and small mammals. And otherwise, we need to understand that deserts can also fall into four categories according to their geographic location or climatic conditions, which can be hot and dry, semi-arid, coastal, and cold. These are the desert, or we can define that as a desert biome. And then lastly, I can talk about a tundra biome. A tundra biome is extremely it actually has an extremely inhospitable conditions with lowest measured temperatures of any other five major biomes that we can talk about, which is actually temperatures ranging from -34 to 12 degrees Celsius, which is very low. So they also have a low amount of precipitation, just around 15 to 25 centimeters per year, and as well as poor quality soil nutrients and short summers. So these can also be Arctic or alpine tundras. So the tundras do not have much biodiversity and vegetation in other ways. In simple, they basically have shrubs, grasses, mosses, and lichens. This is partly because they have got frozen layers under the soil surface called a permafrost. Permafrost are found there. So these Arctic tundras is found in north of the boreal forest, and also alpine tundras is found in mountains where we have got altitudes that is too high for trees to survive. That is one thing that you need to understand. Or again, wildlife inhabiting the tundra must adapt to its extreme conditions in order for them to survive. So that is basically what we can say about biomass. And thank you very much, class, for your time. You have a wonderful stay, and all the best in your upcoming exams. Just keep connected, turn on your notification button. We are starting revision soon of everything. You have a wonderful day, and thank you once again.